Part 5. The Legacy of Your Life. Chapter 22. You are the artist. What will be your masterpiece? I introduced the idea of alchemy and explained how alchemists and chemists were initially artists. Transforming something from one form to another involves energy and is an art. And here's the thing. We are all artists regarding soul work. We are the artists of our own lives. When you create, you bring something to life. The word artist represents anyone who brings something to life. In life, we must create and manifest into an image of someone who does not exist yet. Have you ever tried to become a new person in your current environment? What happened? Well, most likely, the people around you reminded you that you're not that person that you're trying to be. You may be trying to become a vegan, and those around you won't let you forget how much you love bacon. What is a con artist? It is a person displaying false confidence, creating a reality that does not exist. So the system has branded them, labeled them a con, saying they are lying if they say they are something else. The problem with this and its fallacy is that sometimes you must act as if the person you want to become is who you are already. Our only route to manifesting a new life is to act as the new person we want to be. How are we to advance and trade up in characters if we are told that we're being a con anytime we're becoming a new version of ourselves? They call it a false front. The system has hidden the true meaning by adding artist to the title, just as chemist is called a scientist. They tricked you, but you're not trapped. We all got tricked into mundane lives, sold a story, and told to chase the dream. The problem is there is no pot of gold at the end of the rainbow if you follow the main conventional narrative. So why don't people change? Obligations and reputations. They end up chained, strained, and drained. Sad but true. Most people you know are miserable in one central aspect of their lives. Either they hate their job, their body, or their partner. Who could you be if salvation came before reputation? It amazes me how many people genuinely hate one aspect of their lives. But they don't change it. Why? Obligations. What would others think of me if I did X or didn't do X anymore? Reputations. Who will others think I am if I did X or didn't do X anymore? Break the chains. We're all walking contradictions until we arrive at the end of our becoming. As we morph in life, there is an in-between period, a period where one is their new version, but the old version still hasn't passed. This period is the final stage of transformation. The most challenging phase is facing the most criticism and pushback from the outside world. What happens when you know you have something to express? Expression versus repression. Repression, noun, refers to the act of restraining, inhibiting, or subduing. Etymology, the term repression comes from Latin. Re meaning back or again, and premiere meaning to press, so re-premiere translates to press back or hold back. Expression, noun. Definition. Expression refers to the act of making one's thoughts, feelings, or ideas known or manifest, often through words, art, gestures, or other forms of communication. Etymology. The term expression also comes from Latin, which is the past participle of experimere. Ex means out, and premiere means to press, hence, can be understood as to press out or to squeeze out. This gives the sense of manifesting or showing outwardly what is inside. Energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can be collected. Visualize expression as the soul's core through every word, gesture, and creation. Here, our spirit finds its stage, reaching out to the world with fierce authenticity. In stark contrast stands repression, the cold chain stifling our genuine self from expressing itself in all it does. A byproduct of societal norms, past scars, and the dread of judgment. Repression silences our purest emotions, fragmenting the sacred bond we hold with our own being and source energy. What is a tortured artist? Where does the saying a tortured artist come from? It is a description of a soul wanting to be expressed. It is an artist that knows something lives inside of them and it does not let them feel at ease until it is brought to life. We are all meant for greatness. We all have something exceptional to do, whether we know it or not. Don't think those that know what it is they're meant to do have it easier than those who don't. It is a form of suffering until it is expressed because it is meant to come out. I always knew I had something great inside of me that wanted to be expressed in this world. It isn't like a calling. There's no way to explain it other than a tortured artist. When you know it, you just know it. We are not the creators of our dreams, although we are the creators of our lives. Our dreams are individual to us. They are personal. The phrase tortured artist has a rich history and spirituality because when you are the true artist, you are tapped into your intuition and your calling. You know why you are here, what you were meant to be from birth, and what you were meant to create. It will torture you until you bring it to life. Until on your quote-unquote birthday, you create a product or project that you birth that has been implanted in you. If you don't, this will torture you and you will never feel complete or accomplished because you know you were meant for something. and you will suffer until you bring that something to life. Welcome to the feeling of being a tortured artist. Knowing that you were meant for something that you have not yet brought to life is the most frustrating feeling a human could possibly feel. You will never be dealt a hand you cannot handle. In a way, many of us are tortured artists. You know that feeling when something lives inside of you and you desire to express it, but you can't seem to express it in the physical form. That's your soul trying to come out. Surrender to the creation process. Most people are suppressing it or not letting it out for many reasons, but the most common is fear, which is significant and needs to be let go of for you to advance and transform. You can start feeling very bad if you ignore your soul's calling and are not becoming who you're meant to be. Your soul will push you. In School of Soul, we spend a fair amount of time learning to understand all the universe's signs and instructions so that you can connect with your soul's purpose and follow it. Let me tell you how I know my soul renovation and School of Soul are part of my soul's purpose. It is what I am meant to create here and now. My why. My creative journey began when I was a child. Children are more attuned to their souls, but as most people do, I began to suppress my soul's calling. As a child, I woke up knowing that feeling that I was meant to be creative. I would spend endless days in flow state, scrapbooking, and making crafts. I was a little girl who found solace at the craft table, and I savored my time there. Looking up from my work, I frequently had no idea how much time had passed. Being in a flow state signifies that you are directly connected with your source. Throughout high school, I was known for skipping evenings out with my friends to stay home and create art. Yet, when choosing my career, I was conditioned to believe there's no space for creativity in the job world. My career took a different, more sensible path into real estate. My creativity got stifled by everyday life. Not only was I not doing what I loved, I was not in control of my life. I was not creating or steering its direction. I got swept under the current of life, a life I never chose for myself and drained of all my power and life force. My power was suppressed until I burst soul renovation. When I started pouring my energy into those pages, it was such a release. I was finally releasing all my built-up creative energy, which had been begging to be set free for so many years. And my audience grew relatively quickly, and School of Soul seemed to write itself through me. With every new thing I produced or posted for soul renovation, the more at peace my soul felt. And it was a peace I'd already known as a child. What if? What if you asked to create a new life? Because I believe the universe is begging you to expand. Remember, you do have that creative power. It's time to declare it, claim that power, and claim your life back. Declare your intention to change and expand. As you do, the signs around you will get louder and louder and harder to ignore. Will you allow yourself to step into the creative process and connect with your soul's creation and purpose? Children are the perfect creators. Here's a fable I love. There's an Indian fable about parents bringing home a baby. The story goes that the parents brought their newborn home. They already had an older child who asked to have a moment alone with the baby. The parents stepped outside and the little boy said, "Tell me what I've already forgotten." As children, we're so connected. We are so aware of both sides. We know who we are. We follow what feels right. We usually play and create our days from our soul. We have this incredible imagination and belief in endless possibilities because we haven't yet been taught limits. But at some point, we're told that life has limits, and we're conditioned out of our soulful feeling of limitless possibilities. Eventually, it becomes so long since we've connected with our core energy, our soul, that we begin to forget this inner spark. What if you stayed in that innocent, energetic state of believing anything is possible? What if you never lost connection with your soul in the first place? Imagine the grand potential you'd have for creation in your life. Now is the time to take back your power. Here is where you're going to get educated so you can release the programming that held you back from your soul's purpose. You do too little of what brings you joy. If you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. Anyone who knows me in what I like to call quote-unquote real life knows that I literally burned the candle at both ends for almost 5 years straight to build out my dreams. I was doing more than I'd ever done in life. My schedule looked like the following for 5 years straight. My days were divided like this: 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. health, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. wealth, building my real estate company, 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. creation of School of Soul. You would think I would have been exhausted. The funny thing is I had more energy than ever. I had to force myself to go to sleep at night because I was not tired at all. Want to hear something even more wild? When I traveled, my energy decreased. Every trip I went on left me feeling depleted and exhausted. All my trips were fantastic. However, I felt a void in my day when I was away from my projects. Your projects in life should give you life, not drain you. No matter how hard or how many hours they require, if it is your soul's purpose, the work will not tire you. It will energize you. Does this mean I'm addicted to work? No, it just means that working on my projects and building my companies is what gives me life, not recharging and relaxing as traditionally thought of. If you feel exhausted by your daily life, ask yourself what you are not doing that fills you with joy. Do more of that, and I promise you will no longer be tired. When looking out at a big world of yes, we don't ask the universe for too much, we ask for too little. Your calling, your why. What about your passion and your purpose? You'll know it when you feel it. That's the truth about callings. They're not just fleeting thoughts. They can create an overpowering sensation that refuses to be ignored, a pull from within, a voice demanding to be heard and expressed. But let's be honest, heeding that call isn't always straightforward. We sometimes find ourselves seeking validation from the people around us. And in doing so, we hand them our dreams on a silver platter, hoping they'll overstand. But they might not. And when viewed through their lens, our dreams can seem impractical or even absurd. Remember, those childhood passions, those activities that consumed us and made our hearts race with excitement, for many of us, those dreams were dismissed as unrealistic. You're going to make a living doing what? Be realistic. What does realistic mean? Isn't it about representing reality? And if something brings genuine joy, meaning to your life, isn't that your reality? Isn't that the most genuine version of yourself? How did I get here? When I was a little girl, there was nothing I wanted to do except scrapbook. You probably thought that the vision board was my main thing and that it just started a couple years ago. Nope, I spent my entire childhood creating scrapbooks that were mini versions of what my big boards are today. Every day locked inside my room, I clipped my heart out. I created die cuts and collages. I even took classes to take and develop photos myself. For me, scrapbooking was my whole world. As a young girl, I was entranced by the idea of capturing moments and memories. This wasn't just a hobby, it was my lifeline. Every snippet, every image, every piece of cardstock held a story to me. Yet everyone around me echoed the same sentiment. You can't make a living out of scrapbooking. So I pushed my passions aside, trying to fit into the mold they were setting for me. It was my entire world. Even in high school, it consumed my days and my evenings, and my boyfriend's evenings too. If you wanted to date me, you had to come to Clipper Street at night, and we would clip, me and mostly 70-year-old grandmas who were scrapbooking with their grandchildren's photos. God bless the man who took me to scrapbooking class and bought me cardstock instead of Chanel. All I ever heard was that I couldn't make a living from scrapbooking. Over and over again, I was constantly pushed away from what I loved and what made me happy into what I was quote-unquote supposed to want. And finally, I surrendered, and my soul began to die. What came to follow was a bright, brilliant girl who succumbed to alcohol and men and everything that is not worth living for. I gave into the life that others told me I should want. Something normal was the mantra chanted in my face 24/7, which really looked more like resigning myself to a life of partying. The following years turned into a nonstop flight around the world to drink and waste my precious life, as my soul had fragmented to the point that it was gone for a period of my life. The once happy girl who knew exactly what she loved and what she was willing to shut the entire world out for had resorted to not much more than a constant hangover and a rotation of locations and constant emptiness. Eventually, I was forced into being a realtor because it would save my family money, and money was always more important to my family than my soul. That began the fantastic roller coaster of real estate for me. Everyone knew their part, and I tried to do mine. I tried to want it. I built it, and I built it to the max. I built the biggest office in the area, the nicest office by far, the biggest team of agents who'd never even sold real estate before, and took them to being #1 at our brokerage, as well as securing the #1 spot for myself for the majority of my reign in real estate. On paper, it seemed like I had it all, but in reality, that sense of fulfillment, of being truly alive, eluded me. I did everything they said I was supposed to do. I crossed all their finish lines, and when I stood at the end as victor, having everything they told me I was supposed to want, I threw in the hat at the top of my game, because I never genuinely wanted any of it. As you have already learned, this will always result from chasing anything that is not meant for you. It will never satisfy your soul, and I guarantee you will resign, figuratively or literally one day. Your soul will check out if it is not your soul's calling. No matter how shiny your creation is, the soul isn't tricked by shine. It could care less, and its joy meter cannot be altered. You can try to want it all you want, but if you're not doing what your soul wants, it will never stay quiet and be happy until you align. You cannot make it work to please your soul. You can make it work to appease others and keep up the act, but it will never translate. Why? Because achieving in any area that you never truly desired feels hollow. It doesn't matter how glamorous your life may seem to others. If your soul isn't aligned with what you're doing, it feels empty. Here's what I've learned from my journey. Your soul knows its purpose, and it won't be silenced. Listen to it and follow it, because when you do, you'll find a fulfillment that's unmatched and what is more practical than doing what you love. How do you know what you're passionate about? What brings you joy? It is those activities and moments when you easily get lost in time. Create situations that expose yourself to new experiences to see if they are for you. Explore new opportunities for things you may fall in love with, such as a sport or new groups or hobbies or even talents. Ever find yourself doing something but not knowing why, but it feels like you're meant to do it? This happened for me after I resisted my calling for years. I spent days, evenings, and even weekends I had off working on an Instagram that had nothing to do with my career. I spent all my time on it, but I somehow never had time to do Instagram for my actual job. I never knew the reason why. Why did I learn all about how to make and edit videos? Why did I learn about photography? It was all pulling me to my calling. These were hints of the soul. It pulled me to all these skills I would later need for where I was going. 6 years later, as I transitioned my life and began to write School of Soul, I secretly had every skill I needed to complete the project. What calls you in? What skills are you sleeping on? What do you know a lot about? What are you naturally drawn to? Our dreams and wants are specific to us. No two people want exactly the same thing. Remember to value those small moments as your minutes turn into hours and your hours into days and your days into your years. In the end, this is all we have. Every time you do anything, ask yourself, does it align with my why? Does it bring me closer to the life I envision? When we're connected to our why, we become unstoppable. We channel our energy, focus, and determination into creating a life that's uniquely yours, a life worth playing. Don't miss your calling when it comes. Life is a journey. We all have a calling, that one thing we're meant to do that will fulfill us and give us a sense of purpose. Unfortunately, many people go through life without ever finding their calling. They may have a passion for something, an idea they believe they could change the world with, but they're too afraid to pursue it. They settle for a life of mediocrity, never quite satisfied, always wondering what could have been. If you're lucky enough to find that one thing that you would give everything else up for, don't let it slip away. Don't be someone with a brilliant idea but never act on it. Life is too short to waste it on anything less than your passion. When you find your calling, a light bulb goes off in your head. You suddenly have clarity and purpose, and nothing else will matter. But finding your calling is only half of the battle. The other half is walking your path out. Pursuing your passion requires hard work, dedication, and sacrifice. It won't always be easy, but it will always be worth it. When you do what you love, you will never feel like you are working. You will wake up daily with a sense of purpose and joy, knowing you're making a difference in the world. In the game of life, the ultimate goal is to find your calling and walk your path out. Don't let fear, doubt, or uncertainty hold you back. When your calling comes, grab it with both hands and hold on for dear life. Trust yourself, trust your instincts, and trust that the universe has a plan for you. It may not always be easy, but it will definitely be worth it. Don't miss your life's calling. The courageous often ask the blind for advice and then turn around discouraged. What do I mean by that? If you're a visionary in life, that means you can see the impossible as possible. You see ideas and possibilities that have never existed before. Why would you ask someone else who has never been where you're going for advice? This is what they mean in business when they say don't ask the blind for the path. It's an analogy to demonstrate how could one lead you somewhere that they've never been. If you're lucky enough to have a vision for the future, know that if you see it, it is possible. If you see it in your head, you can hold it in your hand, as Bob Proctor always says, period. Move forward with faith and thank God and the universe for gifting you with the sight that no one else can see. I spent the first half of my life trying to become, and now the game is to unbecome everything. Soul work. There are two parts to the equation. One must become who they're becoming, and the other is one must release the past. I had always thought it was the other way around. Typically, we are taught to make space for the new to come in, but walking it out has been the opposite. Once the new manifests is when one is left with no option but to push out the last of the old. There's no room for both versions. A new version eventually suffocates the old one. Contemplating a period in my life when I embarked on a journey of radical transformation provides critical lessons in recognizing and responding to the signs of the universe. At that time, I was about to uproot my entire life, inviting newness in every aspect. The journey was daunting but exhilarating, filled with trials and tribulations, ultimately leading to self-realization. As I navigated this transformation, I experienced a set of misfortunes that on the surface might have appeared coincidental or merely bad luck. However, upon reflection, I began to perceive these not as random misfortunes, but signals urging me towards a change. The initiation was subtle. I could sense whispers nudging me to move, to invite change into my life. Still, I hesitated, putting it off and ignoring these intuitions. Consequently, the universe resorted to drastic measures to deliver its message. Inexplicable malfunctions started to occur in my life. My computer stopped working, my data wiped itself, no device was spared between my house and my office. Even the neon A at my office exploded. These incidents were not mere technical issues or coincidental failures, but manifestations of energetic science, a profound undercurrent hinting towards a deeper necessity for change. Every sign, every breakdown, every mishap was the universe making its message louder and louder. I was meant to leave, to change, to transition from my current state. The process was not destructive, rather, it was evolutionary. Understanding that this was happening because the energy and recognizing that the signs were guiding me towards a more aligned path. From this transformational phase of my life, I have learned to embrace discomfort as a crucial aspect of growth. Comfort often hinders our progress and prevents us from realizing our full potential. Therefore, we must not fear discomfort, for it is within discomfort that we truly evolve. If we're meant to ascend to our next level, we need to let go of the familiar and plunge into the unknown and trust with courage. The universe communicates with us in numerous ways, often unconventional ways. Recognizing and heeding these signs can steer us towards a path of more aligned, authentic self. While the journey may seem frightening, we should remember that every transformation is an upgrade, a stepping stone to becoming a better version of ourselves. Use time to change yourself, or time will change you. We fear pivoting because we don't know how. No one has ever taught us, and generations before us were one foot in front of the other, assembly line style in their career paths. That route has been eroded by modern day society. Many can't see around the bend, so they will not step forward into the unknown due to anxiety. They choose survival because the unknown is, well, too unknown. Are you happy? Do you love the work you produce? Do you love obligations? Do you care about reputation? Salvation and freedom. Change is an inevitable aspect of life that can manifest itself in various ways, whether by design or by disaster. Embracing change is essential to growth and development, allowing us to adapt to new circumstances and evolve in a constantly shifting world. By confronting change head on, we can use it as a force to propel us forward, rather than allowing it to hold us back or create a sense of stagnation. Whether it's a planned career shift or an unexpected life event or a personal transformation, accepting and adapting to change can pave the way for new opportunities, experiences, and perspectives. Finding your it, the key to fulfillment in life. They said walk in purpose. Find your purpose in all that you do and you'll never work a day in your life. I always wondered how you would know it was it. I finally figured this out. It is when you find something that fills you to the point that you do not care about anything else. It is all-consuming. It literally makes you feel warm and fuzzy, just like love. Finding your it in life is the same as finding a great love. As humans, I think to be fully complete, we must put both puzzle pieces of the puzzle together. We often think of our great loves as other humans. However, I think that's only one form, one manifestation of this type of fulfillment available to us while we're here. It's one piece of the puzzle, and the other is finding that same pairing inside yourself. That feeling of finding your other half in another human, but inside yourself. It is your passion, your way, and your lane, that one thing you do and you love doing because you know how well you do it. And when you do it, you are in your element. It's an ever-fulfilling love that feeds you back when you feed it. It's not the same as working. Working is a draining and exhausting term you would never use to explain the time you spend building your it in life. It didn't go unnoticed that the most fun I ever had only happened once I decided to deconstruct my original vision. To be honest, it was the day I dissolved my real estate team. If you stumble upon a burning passion, the one thing that ignites your soul, don't you dare sleep on it. I've seen countless individuals experience that eureka moment only to watch it vanish because they hesitated. Your purpose, your game-changing realization is rare. Seize it, cherish it, and live it. Recognizing your calling and pursuing it relentlessly is the entire point of your soul game. When it knocks on the door, be ready to take it and run. So why isn't everybody living their passion? You've heard the adage, do what you love and you won't work a day in your life. It sounds idealistic, right? But why isn't everybody living this reality? Simple. They've ensnared themselves in societal constructs, thinking they've hit the jackpot only to realize it's an illusion. Everyone will come across their thing in this lifetime, that thing that is worth sacrificing everything for. And when it crosses your path, don't second guess yourself. You got to grab it and give it your all. Not all opportunities come twice in life.